The government is about to create a direct data link between inland revenue and work and income. And if you're receiving any kind of government financial support, this change could affect how your payments are calculated, adjusted, and in some cases, stopped, without you even being told in advance. I'm David, and you're watching New Zealand Pension Plan, the channel where we break down NZ Super, government support programs, and important updates that could affect your finances, so you can make informed decisions and make sure you're receiving every entitlement you may qualify for. Today, we're covering one of the most significant changes to how the Ministry of Social Development manages payments in years. It's called the Income Charging Program, and it's being rolled out in two phases. Phase 1 is already underway. Phase 2 will fundamentally change how MSD tracks and adjusts your payments, using real-time salary and wage data pulled directly from inland revenue. There is a lot of misleading information circulating about this right now. Some people are saying NZ Super is about to be means tested. Others are claiming the government is using artificial intelligence to spy on beneficiaries. And there are those saying the system is already live and cutting payments right now. In this video, I'm going to give you the accurate picture, what this program actually is, who it affects, what the timeline looks like, and critically, what you need to know to protect yourself and your entitlements. Stay with me, because later in this video, I'll also be going through 5 specific claims that are spreading online right now and telling you exactly which ones are true, which ones are misleading, and which ones are completely false. Let's start at the beginning. For years, if you were receiving any income-tested support from Work and Income, things like job seeker support, the accommodation supplement, disability allowance, or supported living payment, you've been required to regularly declare your income to MSD. Every week or fortnight, or whenever your income changed, you were expected to tell Work and Income what you were earning, so they could calculate the correct rate of support. That system has worked, but it hasn't been perfect. People forget to declare. People declare the wrong amounts. Income changes week to week, and the paperwork doesn't always keep up. The result has been a steady stream of overpayments. Situations where people receive more support than they're entitled to, and then find themselves owing money back to MSD. Right now, the median level of debt owed by a beneficiary to MSD is $833. That's the middle figure, meaning half of people with debt owe more than that. MSD says the current system creates 2 problems. It places an ongoing burden on people to keep reporting. And when people don't report accurately or on time, overpayment debt builds up. The solution they've landed on is to automate the process by directly linking the income information that inland revenue already holds to the payment calculations that Work and Income makes. This is the Income Charging Program, and it was officially funded in Budget 2025, announced on May 21st, 2025. Now, before we go any further, I want to be clear about something important, and this is a point that a lot of people are getting confused about. This program is about income-tested payments. New Zealand superannuation is not income-tested. If you're receiving NZ Super, and that is your only payment from Work and Income, you are not directly affected by this income charging system in the same way. NZ Super is a universal payment for eligible New Zealanders age 65. And overall, it is not means-tested, and nothing in this program changes that. However, and this is the part you absolutely need to hear, if you're receiving NZ Super alongside supplementary payments like the accommodation supplement, the disability allowance, or other income-tested assistance, and you're also earning PAYE income from part-time work, then this program does apply to those supplementary payments. And in that case, what we're about to discuss could directly affect your finances. So stay with me, because the details here genuinely matter. The program is split into 2 phases, and they are very different from each other. Let me take you through both. Phase 1 began on July 1st, 2025. It doesn't involve any automated technology yet. What it does involve is 35 additional MSD staff who have been brought in specifically to manually review a greater number of payment records each year. These staff members cross-check what IRD holds on record against what clients have declared to Work and Income, and they identify discrepancies. When they find overpayments, MSD moves to recover that money. When they find someone who is no longer eligible because of their income, payments are reviewed and may be stopped. The government has been very transparent about the financial intent here. Phase 1 is projected to cost around $13 million over 3 years in staffing and operational costs, but it is expected to generate net savings of $31.5 million through overpayment recovery. That tells you the scale of the problem they're trying to address. Phase 1 runs until July 2028. It is a time-limited, human-driven effort that builds the groundwork for what comes next. Phase 2 is the significant one. From July 2028, subject to legislation passing in 2027, MSD intends to use PAYE salary and wage income information, shared directly by Inland Revenue, to automatically calculate how much income-tested financial assistance people can receive. Instead of you having to declare your wages to work and income, the system will use the information your employer has already reported to IRD through the PAYE system, and it will apply that income forward from the week you were paid. Think about what that means in practical terms. If you're on job seeker support and you pick up a few shifts at work this week, and your employer reports that income to IRD through the PAYE system, MSD will receive that information and automatically adjust your payment, without you needing to do anything and potentially without sending you a letter first. That last part is important, and I'll come back to it shortly. Now, I want to pause here and explain why this is only becoming possible now. IRD went through a major transformation program that was completed in recent years. As part of that transformation, Inland Revenue's systems were significantly upgraded. Those upgrades now allow income information to be shared with other government agencies in a way that's accurate, timely, and responsive. Before that transformation was complete, the technology simply wasn't there to make this kind of real-time data link work properly. There's also a precedent for this approach. MSD and IRD have already done something similar with Child Support Pass-On, a program where child support income is automatically passed through to beneficiaries who are eligible. That system has worked reliably, and it gave both agencies the operational experience to scale up for a much broader income-charging program. The estimated long-run savings from Phase 2 are substantial, $376.5 million in out years. That gives you a sense of the scale of overpayment and income declaration issues the government believes exist in the current system. Now, alongside this income charging program, there is also a piece of legislation you need to know about: the Social Security Modernization Amendment Bill 2026. This bill was introduced in Parliament on May 29, 2026, and it is directly connected to these changes. The bill expands MSD's ability to use automated decision-making in more situations. Currently, the legislation only allows automated decision-making in limited ways. From July 1, 2026, MSD will be able to automate more decisions, specifically those that are straightforward and rules-based, where no human judgment or discretion is needed. The government has been careful to explain what this means. The automated decision-making is not artificial intelligence in the sense that most people think of it. It's not ChatGPT, it's not generative AI, it is rules-based processing, where a set of criteria is applied to a person's circumstances and a decision is made based on those criteria. An example would be automatically re-granting job seeker support when all the eligibility criteria are clearly met. The criteria are already written in law. The system applies them. A human isn't needed to make a judgment call in those cases. MSD has also been clear that automated decision-making will not replace human contact or human judgment when those things are genuinely needed. Whenever discretion is required, a person will be involved. The bill also introduces a few other changes that NZ super recipients and beneficiaries should be aware of. It expands mandatory reviews, meaning more types of benefits will require you to actively confirm your circumstances on a regular basis. MSD needs this information to check that you're still eligible and being paid at the right rate. Missing one of these reviews could result in your payment being suspended. So if you receive a letter from Work and Income asking you to confirm your circumstances, do not ignore it. The bill also sets clearer requirements around medical evidence for health and disability benefits, and it changes the process around dependent children turning 18. These are important for some viewers, so let me explain the 18-year-old change briefly. If you have a dependent child approaching their 18th birthday, Work and Income will contact you 25 working days before that birthday to ask you to confirm whether the young person is still financially dependent and in full-time education. If you don't respond, your payment will automatically be adjusted to exclude that child. So watch out for that contact and make sure you respond. Now, there's one more specific change connected to this program that I want to flag clearly because it has significant practical implications. This relates to the removal of what's called the 10 working day notice period. Currently, if MSD wants to reduce or suspend your benefit based on PAYE income information it receives from IRD, it has to give you 10 working days notice before making that change. That window gives you time to check the information, contact Work and Income if something is wrong, and raise any concerns before money is taken from your payment. Under the proposed changes, which are expected to be introduced in legislation around October 2026, that 10-day window is being removed. MSD's reasoning is that keeping the notice period means the department can't use PAYE income information quickly enough, and the delay results in overpayment debt being created for clients. They say removing the notice period and adjusting payments in real time is actually better for clients because it stops debt from building up. There's logic to that argument, but consumer advocates and some opposition parties have raised concerns. If your payment is adjusted or reduced based on income information from IRD and something is wrong, if the information is inaccurate or applies to the wrong period, or doesn't account for your full circumstances, you would feel that impact on your bank account immediately without advance warning. This is why I want to make sure you know your rights here. Even after these changes come in, you will still have the right to request a review of any decision that affects your payments. And critically, any review of a decision made using automated processes will be conducted by a human being, not by the automated system itself. If you believe an adjustment to your payment is wrong, you have the right to challenge it. Keep that in mind and keep watching, Benin, because in a moment I'm going to go through 5 specific claims that are being shared online about this system, and I'll tell you exactly what's true and what isn't. Before we get to that, let me address something that a number of viewers will be wondering about. The income charging program is built around PAYE income, that is salary and wage income, where your employer deducts tax through the pay-as-you-earn system before you even receive your money. That is the type of income that IRD receives information about in real time. But many New Zealanders, particularly older New Zealanders on NZ's Super A, have income from other sources. Rental income, self-employment, investment income, overseas pensions. The automated system, as it is currently designed, covers PAYE income only. All other types of income will still need to be manually declared to Work and Income, exactly as they are now. This is an important distinction. If you are receiving supplementary assistance from Work and Income, and you have rental income or self-employment income on top of your NZ Super, you cannot assume the system will capture that. You still have an obligation to declare it. Failure to declare income you are required to report can result in overpayment, and that overpayment will need to be repaid. Take a moment to think about whether this applies to your situation. If you are receiving any income-tested support from Work and Income alongside your NZ Super, and you have income coming in from any source, make sure you understand what you're required to report. Now let's go through those 5 online claims because this is where a lot of confusion is coming from. The first claim you may have seen is this. The government is using artificial intelligence to spy on beneficiaries and automatically cut their payments. This is partially true but significantly misleading. The automated decision-making that MSD is expanding is not artificial intelligence in the way most people understand that term. It is not generative AI. It is not machine learning that develops its own judgments. It is rules-based processing, systems that apply criteria already set out in law. The data sharing between IRD and MSD is done under a legal agreement called an Approved Information Sharing Agreement. and that sharing is fully governed by privacy law and the Privacy Commissioner's oversight. The characterization of this as surveillance or spying is not accurate. It is a data link between two government agencies to improve payment accuracy. However, and this is the part with some validity, payments can be automatically adjusted, and the advance notice period is being removed. So the concern about payment changes happening without warning is not without foundation. That part warrants attention. The second claim, NZ superpayments are about to be means tested or cut because of this new tracking system. This is false. NZ Super is not income tested. It never has been, and nothing in this program changes that. If you are 65 or older, you meet the residency requirements, and you hold New Zealand citizenship or residency, you are entitled to NZ Super, regardless of what other income you have. The IRD to MSD data link applies to income-tested benefits and supplementary assistance. NZ Super itself is not part of that system. Your NZ Super rate this year, much from April 1st, 2026, is $1,110.30 per fortnight if you're single and living alone, $1,024.90 if you're sharing, and $854.08 each if you're in a qualifying couple. Those rates are set by law and increased on April 1st every year based on average wage growth. This year, that increase was 2.9%. Nothing in the income charging program affects those rates. The third claim, this is New Zealand's version of Australia's robo-debt scheme. This is one of the more nuanced claims, and it's been raised by Labour and Te Pāti Maori in Parliament, so it deserves a careful answer. Australia's robo-debt scheme was a scandal because it used an unlawful method, averaging a person's annual income across the year to create welfare debt that often didn't actually exist. People were being billed for debts that weren't real, based on flawed calculations. MSD's system is fundamentally different because it uses actual PAYE data, the real income your employer reports to IRD in the period you're paid. It's not averaged, it's not estimated, it is the actual reported figure from your employer. MSD also has safeguards that robo-debt lacked, sir, an ADM standard developed in consultation with the Privacy Commissioner and the Human Rights Commission, transparency requirements, human oversight of automated decisions, and a right to request human review of any automated decision. The risk of error is not zeroed. No system is perfect, but the mechanism here is structurally different from robo-debt. If you are concerned about an automated decision affecting your payments, you have the right to challenge it, and a human will review it. The fourth claim, this is already live and affecting NZ superpayments right now. This is false. The Automated Income Tracking System, Phase 2, does not go live until July 2028 at the earliest, and that is subject to legislation passing in 2027. What is happening right now is Phase 1, which involves 35 additional human staff manually cross-checking records. Some expanded automated decision-making began on July 1st, 2026 under the Modernisation Bill, but that applies to existing rules-based processes, not the new PAYE income charging system. If someone tells you this system is already deducting from their NZ superpayments, they are either misinformed or they may be confusing a separate payment adjustment with this program. The fifth claim, MSD will now know about all your income automatically, so you don't need to declare anything anymore. This is partially true but dangerously incomplete. From July 2028, MSD plans to automatically receive and apply PAYE salary and wage income from IRD. If you're earning wages through an employer who deducts PAYE tax, you will not need to declare that income separately to work and income. That is the goal. But, and this is critical, the system only covers PAYE income. Every other type of income you have, rental income, self-employment, income from overseas pensions, still needs to be declared. If you stop declaring that income because you assume the system knows about it, you could accumulate overpayment debt without realizing it. Until July 2028, the current declaration requirements still fully apply. And even after July 2028, you must keep declaring anything that isn't PAYE wages. Now, let me bring this all together with a clear summary of what you need to know and what, if anything, you should be doing. If you receive NZ Super only, with no supplementary income tested payments from work and income, this program does not directly affect your NZ Super payment. Your fortnightly NZ Super will continue to be paid as normal and will increase each April in line with average wage growth. The current rates are set until March 31st, 2027. NZ Super is not being means tested. NZ Super is not being income tracked. NZ Super is universal. If you receive NZ Super plus supplementary income tested payments, such as the accommodation supplement or disability allowance, and you also earn PAYE wages from part-time work, this program will eventually affect how those supplementary payments are calculated. From July 2028, MSD will automatically receive your pay income from IRD and will use that information to adjust your supplementary payments. You won't need to declare your wages separately for that purpose, but you must still declare all other income types. If you are receiving income-tested benefits and you have not been accurately declaring your income, Phase One's increased manual checks mean there is a higher likelihood that discrepancies will be identified this year and next. If you owe money to MSD, it is generally better to contact them proactively than to wait for them to find it. Work and Income does have processes to manage debt repayment in a manageable way. If you receive any contact from Work and Income asking you to confirm your circumstances, particularly around mandatory reviews that are being expanded under the Modernization bill is signed in, respond promptly. Missing a mandatory review can result in your payment being automatically suspended. If your payment is ever adjusted and you believe the adjustment is wrong, you have the right to request a review. Write down the date you were told about the change, gather any information that supports your circumstances, and contact Work and Income as soon as possible. Any review of an automated decision will be conducted by a person. And finally, if you've seen or heard claims about this program on social media, please check them against official sources before acting on them or sharing them. The official Work and Income website, the MSD website, and the government's budget fact sheets are the accurate sources. What's being shared online is often a distorted version of the facts, and acting on inaccurate information could cost you money or cause unnecessary stress. This program represents a genuine shift in how New Zealand's social support system works. The goal of using real employer-reported data instead of self-declared income to calculate benefit payments is, in principle, a sensible one. It should reduce the burden on people to keep reporting, and it should reduce the accumulation of overpayment debt. But the removal of the advance notice period is a genuine concern for people on tight budgets. An unexpected payment adjustment, even a temporary one, can create real hardship. Knowing your rights and staying informed is your best protection. The key dates to hold in mind: Phase 1 of increased manual checking is running now from July 2025. New automated decision-making powers began on July 1st, 2026 under the Modernization bill. ISA legislative changes around child support and the notice period are expected around October 2026. Further legislation needs to pass in 2027. And Phase 2, full automated PAYE income charging, is targeted for July 2028. A lot can change between now and then. We will keep following this closely and bring you updates as legislation progresses and implementation dates are confirmed. Before I wrap up, let me remind you of a few things that are worth checking, regardless of this program. Make sure Work and Income has your correct contact details: address, phone number, email. If they can't reach you, you could miss a mandatory review notification. Make sure your IRD number is correctly recorded with Work and Income. They will be cross-referencing IRD data, and any mismatch could cause issues. If you're getting the accommodation supplement, the disability allowance, or any other supplementary payment alongside your NZ Super, make sure you understand what income you're required to declare and that you're doing so correctly. And if your circumstances change, your income, your relationship status, where you're living, tell Work and Income promptly. These obligations exist now, and they will continue to exist even after the automated system comes in. Let me also say this clearly. If you are not receiving everything you may be entitled to, please check. Too many New Zealanders on NZ Super are not claiming supplementary support they genuinely qualify for. Now, the accommodation supplement, the winter energy payment, the disability allowance. These are not handouts. They are entitlements. They exist because Parliament decided people in certain circumstances deserve additional support. If you think you might qualify, check the Work and Income website or call them. That call could be worth hundreds of dollars to you every fortnight. So to summarize everything we've covered today, MSD and Inland Revenue are building a real-time data link that will allow PAYE income information to automatically flow from IRD to MSD and be used to calculate income-tested benefit payments. Phase 1, manual integrity checks by 35 additional staff, is underway now and runs until July 2028. Phase 2, the automated PAYE data system, is targeted for July 2028, subject to legislation. NZ Super itself is not affected by this program. It remains universal, it is not income tested, and current rates run until March 31st, 2027. The 10-day advance notice window for payment adjustments is being removed, so payment changes could happen without prior warning, but the right to challenge and have a decision reviewed by a human remains. The automated system covers PAYE income only. All other income types must still be declared manually. And finally, most of what is being said about this on social media is either partially true, misleading, or outright false. So trust the official sources. If you found this update helpful, make sure you subscribe to New Zealand Pension Plan. I'm David, and my goal is to help you stay informed about NZ's Super, WINZ, MSD, and every important government support update that could affect your finances. Thank you for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next update.